Alrighty, look, here we go. We are rolling. Here we go. So, greetings, dear Gemini. This is you, and this is Tarot Lumination with your mini love and relationship report, kind of a generic thing for August 2018. If you've been here before, you know the drill, but I have to, do things to allow for newcomers. So please forgive me. Um, Got to explain things. Uh, so if you're single, some people ask, you can still watch this. It's essentially designed for couples, mated people, chosen relationships. And but with singles, you can still allow for relationship when you consider the laws of attraction. What are you radiating? Okay, you're always radiating energy, and the question is what comes back to you. It's basic physics. So you have to be very, very conscious of what you're radiating and go from there. So think of this energy over here as what if. I'll just show you, okay, because we're going to have to show you anyway. We're going to use Tarot Lumination Crucible Spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, a significant other, and the relationship itself. And in a truly loving relationship, both parties invest deeply in the relationship rather than just going direct one-to-one, face-to-face. They're very consciously aware of the relationship as an entity that they own and which is worthy of the investment. Because the relationship itself acts as the crucible. The crucible is the structure in which both parties can intimate and separate and go through their alchemical spiritual growth processes in the context of a relationship without the relationship exploding. So the integrity of the crucible is paramount, okay? That's what needs to be understood here. So again, before I get into the cards, let me share with you personal notes that I've been sharing with everybody else too on the other signs. And for you, we have Gemini here. I just cherry picked one astrological date. And just be aware that coming into August, we're coming very out of the tippy end of July, which had two really strong, serious eclipses. The new moon eclipse, July 12th, and the big, fat, very highly stressful full moon Leo Aquarius eclipse on July 27th, which was hard squared as well, okay? I believe with the Taurus and the Scorpio energies. Okay, so moving on from there, heading into August, the next calendar date is August the 11th. This is the Leo new moon eclipse, and it happens in your third house, Gemini. This is the last eclipse of 2018. The next batch of eclipses happens when the North Node goes into Cancer, and that's what it's all going to be about in 2019. So you might have had a glimpse in the middle of July of what you're facing in 2019. But for now, this is all about you, Gemini. There's you on the horizon here. And this is the eclipse energy here. Think of the ticking clock. Tick, 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 tick. Kerblam, eclipse. What is being eclipsed out of your life here? What is being eclipsed into your life here as you come through and out the other side of the eclipse? It is a new moon eclipse in Leo, so it's very strong and very pertinent towards new beginnings and leaving behind old ways that are redundant and obsolete. And eclipses are very much like spiritual gateways, like security checkpoints at airports. Once you go through, you really don't want to go back. In fact, you really can't go back. So third house, it doesn't really pertain directly to relationships, except on the understanding that all relationships require communication. Pretty much no communication means no relation. No communication ship means no relationship. I just coined a word. There you go. So we're talking about communications, day-to-day businesses and interacting, you speaking, you listening, them speaking, them listening. Your co-mates, co-workers, the process of day-to-day teaching and learning, all the essentials that we need to stay alive, basic schooling and education. Okay, so what's going to happen in that part of your life? Well, that's up to you. Okay, I just wanted to point this out. You have to interpret that yourself. You probably already get a glimpse anyway. So let's just get into it. Let's just pull some cards. Remember, this is a little story. What you guys, Gemini, Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. If they're all different, maybe you've got a stellium of all three, just read this one. Okay. Also, you guys can watch, do your cross watching too for significant others. That can help. That can be fun. It can be inspiring. It can throw some serious light on a situation. A lot of people do it, apparently. I mean, I would, I guess. I guess I would do so. Cards were well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry, we're just going to keep it very, very simple here with the most basic Rider-Waite deck, and that's about it for now, okay? So please also, dear Gemini, invite your team, your invisible friends, your spirit guides, because that's what we have over here at Tarot Luminnation. It works much better as a team effort. And then you can reinterpret the whole thing to suit yourself, okay? Make it a team effort on your side. Okay, cards are well shuffled now. We're going to clat. All right, here we go. So bless the reading, bless the deck, bless the cards, bless you, Gemini, bless you for watching, bless the internet and YouTube, and bless this channel. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Over here, what are you radiating, Gemini, in terms of love and relationship, but in general too, but basically in love and relationship, that particular component of your aura. Over here, it's the same. What are they radiating? Over here, deep inside of you, over here, deep inside of the other, and at the very core of the relationship itself. So obviously, well, not obviously, but I'm hoping you can see here a crucible. The crucible in science is typically a deep bowl shape like this, kind of like those pesto bowls or those, herbal crunching bowls like they use in kitchens. Very, very heavy, very, very strong, withstand intense pressure. So from there, you see, the crucible is the entity in which the relationship is conducted. So you can do all of this inside the relationship. And you guys own the relationship. You build it. You do the repairs and the maintenance. Okay? Otherwise, it all gets sloppy. It falls apart and gets leaky and rusty and fungal infected and viral infected. And then you wonder, like, who am I going to blame? All right, so prospects, momentum, continuity here. Think of this like the energy of a fountain, perhaps. Next, we're going to look at circumstantial energy, like call it the weather. And Gemini, of course, like everyone else here at the channel, you have to make the best of it, all right? So you've got the Three of Cups. My feeling here is that you're probably one of the signs that might be really enjoying the eclipses, because the Leo Aquarius axes are essentially very harmonious for you because of the sextiles and the trines, to the point where you might realize, looking around you, wow, I'm not doing too badly. Like some people are having a really, really rough time, seriously hard knocks, but maybe you're getting through things okay, managing pretty well, handling the eclipses pretty well, and I'm happy for you, okay? Something that you would want to celebrate with others. In other words, it's almost like that energy of like, whew, man, I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe I got this far. It deserves celebration between yourselves and your loved ones. I mean, this is above and beyond. I see this as above and beyond your relationship. I just see this as general weather around you where there is cause for celebration, okay? Literally like have a full moon eclipse party or something, or have a August 11th new moon eclipse party and just celebrate the awesomeness of this thing and that you've made it this far in your life in love and relationship, and a whole new chapter is going to start again, even though the eclipse is not sitting directly on your relationship houses, okay? The relationship houses are over here, 1 and 7 particularly, but also 5 and because of true love and romance over here, but more or less this is the key one. So anyway, here we go. What are you radiating yourself here? Oh, maybe this is like knowing, what can happen sometimes when, you've done everything that you can to be the best, most evolved person you can be. And maybe you've already lived through this. Perhaps it's like, you know how you get those tears of joy mixed with tears of sorrow? If you're already coming out of the last 2 eclipses, a little bit shell-shocked, a bit traumatized, a bit knocked, but knowing that this is part of your life, your destiny, or other, and you're not hiding it. Like the worst thing you could do for your physiology, your health, your spirit, your well-being, your heart, is to ignore this. So my feeling is if you are radiating grief, trauma, sorrow, loss, and regret in any way, shape, or form, including your love life, then this needs to be acknowledged. And maybe it is. Maybe it's being openly expressed. Maybe you're fully aware of it and you're just like putting it out there, because that's probably the healthiest thing to do. You know, if you've had to endure a lot of chopping, changing, you know, through the eclipses in your own way, knowing deep down that you're going to be fine coming out the other side here towards the end of August, but more especially towards the end of September, because the planets are shifting a lot between then. So also with the little Five of Cups here, my feeling is that it's appropriate to understand that like there is a flow. There's like before, during, and after the eclipses. So like before the eclipses, there may have been love, true love, an existing kind of love situation that perhaps got traumatized, expired, died, had to go away, had to stop. You had to stop it. They had to stop it. But deep down, knowing that life will continue and there will be more love on the other side of the bridge, so to speak. But as you live through the process, you know, it's a historical moment, and life goes through this thing that we call time. So it might as well acknowledge that. So my feeling here is that from the broader perspective, looking down, if you could observe your life like a movie from up in heaven, this would make more sense. In other words, you're coming out of a phase, going through and recognizing the trauma and the tragedy and the losses, and then coming into a new phase where you celebrate. In other words, like celebrating the new, and blessing the past, you know, blessing the remorse, blessing any grief and sorrow of the past, almost like releasing yourself from any sorrow when you start moving forward. Okay, let's have a look at the other. What are they radiating here? Okay, well, it looks like new opportunities for them. I always see these cards as like sacred opportunity that wouldn't exist here unless you'd earned them. So for the other party, it feels to me like maybe there's some kind of breakup and rekindling here. Maybe not necessarily between yourself and another, or the other, but maybe in some way that if there is a loss between the two of you and it means a separation and a moving on, or maybe you're just living through a phase where there's like a really painful phase in a relationship, but it could be liberating for them, because my feeling, this is very closely related to the eclipses, new beginnings, new chances, new opportunities to start from scratch, but in ways that are physically very evident. With the Pentacles, it would be like stuff that you could actually describe, put into words, like, oh, I'm moving to a new town, got a new job, new house, new car, I just qualified to entry to blah blah program so I can advance my skills, and so on. I also feel as though I'm doing well over here. I feel that this is very self-contained energy. It's almost like they're on their own with this energy. I don't know if it's too much to do with you and the relationship itself. I feel that they're kind of way off on their own over here somewhere. Like you're right over here. This is your reading. This is for you, all about you. You would be radiating this type of energy. And over here, they're like, wow, something cool's going on. And so they're almost like, no offense, but looking at new horizons, new opportunities, perhaps for the relationship itself, perhaps for them in the context of a loving relationship that went through some really hard time, but still essentially for their own good, primarily, as opposed to the good of you and the good of the relationship as a whole. No offense, I'm not trying to hurt their feelings or anything, but I'm just giving you my impression here. All right? There's nothing good or bad about this. All I'm sensing here is that this is very closely aligned with the eclipse, so it might be very liberating. You know, that happens, eclipses anyway. Things are eclipsed out of your life, things are eclipsed into your life. You could even say to yourself, dear, dear eclipse, bring me what is mine, take away that which is not mine. And then you could even declare to the heavens, whatever is mine comes to me, whatever is not mine moves away. And then so be it. So it is spoken, so it is done. And then so it unfolds. I just hope you don't take it personally if there is a lot of tragedy and sorrow here. In other words, it's almost like, I don't know. I don't know if you've experienced this, Gemini, but I know a lot of people have, where they already know. They already know that certain things are flawed, broken, there's something tragic, but they also know that life moves on and that everybody will heal and repair. So in other words, like in terms of expression, because we're talking about, you know, self-expression here in terms of speaking and listening, communicating between yourself and another. Maybe there's been a lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings for a long time, and it's going to be all cleared up and come to the open, and that becomes very liberating. So you might have had all of this wonderful, yummy, gooey stuff, yummy romance and good, solid, loving romance, sometimes moments of disparity over here or whatever. But we're at a time, like a calendar moment, where we can't deny what we're seeing here. Um, the good thing, of course, is the little Two of Cups here on the side, just waiting to be activated at your discretion. And over here, their sense of liberty and new opportunity uh, with what's possible for them. But again, I'm not sensing it directly to do with the relationship. It's just that they might be, like you might be over here, deep sorrow over here, and they might be way over here thinking like, well, this is inevitable. It's okay. He or she will get over it, and we'll move on. Yeah, it's sorry. It's tragic. Yeah, I'm really sad about them. They're really sad about me. We're really sad about each other. We're really sad about the loss, but we're not going to let it ruin our lives. We're going to love and live on. In other words, this could almost be like, maybe there's some kind of breakup and you make up and you're still friends, that kind of thing, where there's not too much blame, not too much bitterness or resentment, that kind of thing. What are you reading deep down over here? Okay, oh, well, interesting, more pentacles. So it might mean, to me, this is really closely associated with either the gain or the loss of something really delicious. Like deep in your soul, what you would really want is like home and family, in the classic sense, like a good, solid, stable home, something that has a legacy to it, like where you're not tapped out on credit cards, but more like uh, living a genuine, simple, honest life where um, you can see the rewards and you can see the assets and the growth building up in terms of love and relationship in a way that's very physically evident, in a way that they're thinking in terms of what is very physically evident. So you might be wishing for this. You might be wishing to rekindle this. It's like a more substantial, more grounded version of the relationship with your existing mate over here. However, if there is a separation, it might be that you're sensing a deep loss of this at the heart and soul level, which is, again, kind of tragic. So I don't want to like sugarcoat the reading, because if there is something tragic here, and all this that was so good is at a loss, and it's just radiating out of you. Yes, it's beautiful energy, this card, but if it's radiating under the theme of loss, then it's kind of tragic. So it's like maybe you had it all and you lost it all, or maybe you thought you had it all, but it wasn't there. And now, once you get through this chapter of the eclipses, you can come out the other side and get something that really works, something really solid, really substantial, a really truly loving relationship that's based on solid reality, long-term potential, with all the core ingredients that a truly loving couple, any truly loving couple would want for the long term. Things like the things that really, really count, like respect, patience, kindness, affection. Um, Taking it further, things like devotion, uh, responsibility towards self and other, loving oneself, loving the other, not putting up with any BS from the other, being very, very clearly defined about your own truth, your own solidity, your own identity, loving thyself first, because those are all really important core ingredients in a truly loving relationship. And in this context, love is what does. Love is as love does. It's very physical, it's very tangible for them and for you. And from the Terra Luminnation perspective, love would be defined something like this, where love is the willing, deliberate uh, choice to go beyond, above and beyond your existing comfort zones in order to deliberately foster and nurture the spiritual health and growth and well-being of yourself, number one, and from there immediately on to your significant other and your significant others. Because that's the most healthy thing you can do. Love is as love does. Love thyself, which is the hardest thing to do. It's one of the probably the hardest thing to do. And tragedy does happen. There was just something on the news today about some of those riptides. I was telling people a lot in the last reports last month about um, psychological, mental, emotional turmoil, like massive riptides, and relating that to what's happening on the Earth, around the Earth, and all the weather things. And of course, it's all over the planet. Like 3 people, tragically lost in riptides on the eastern American seaboard. On the third story, there was another person lost because someone uh, did the martyr thing. They jumped in the water knowing it was very dangerous, tried to rescue somebody. The rescuer died, and the other person actually survived. Okay, and I'll just tell you another little story since I'm on it. I've been caught in riptides before myself, and it's absolutely terrifying, very close to death. And I could even see from the shore people who were deliberately not going in the water. They were just letting things ride out because they knew it was too dangerous. And they loved themselves, so I couldn't blame them. I felt a bit upset and rejected afterwards, but I didn't die. Anyway, true story. There you go. What are they radiating in here? Okay, little page of wands over here. My feeling is that there's something fairly extreme going on for you, Gemini. I don't know exactly what it is. You could probably understand that. Uh, but it puts you in a situation where I feel that there's a lot at stake here in terms of gains and losses, gain and loss, loss and gain, moving what is eclipsed out and what is being eclipsed in, whatever that might be. And you might be relating with someone who is a little bit, I would say, naive and innocent in these matters, to the point where it's almost like you can't blame them. Like if they are part of the equation of deep loss, it's almost like you can't blame them because they're already, my feeling is that they're doing and being the best person that they can in their own limitations of spiritual evolution. And that would be the same for whoever they related to. So you can't take it personally. They're just being who they are. And they're looking at new chances for growth. Maybe they see this with you, but you're not getting it yet. And it looks like they do have the best of intentions, but it also looks like their intentions are, again, no offense, quite self-serving, without any desire to hurt or harm, but it looks like they can see good fortune ahead for them, new changes, in a way that um, almost like a young person would spot that, not knowing the hazards that lie ahead in these great opportunities. Yes, it's good, but what are you gaining? What are you losing? What are they gaining? What are they losing? Because if in their own fervor and enthusiasm and best wishes, best of intentions, they're actually departing and they're actually part of the equation of losing this, where they might realize later on, like how lucky they were without realizing it now. And then that's their problem. Okay. It happens in relationships where people regret breaking up. They suddenly realize too late how much they were loved by another, and you can't do it. Certain things are broken, and certain things cannot be repaired. So you have to forgive and forget and move on. Okay? My feeling is there's a little bit of that going on here with you, Gemini. It may not be absolute, but you might be going through one of those phases, you know, as we intimate and we separate, we intimate. Maybe the crucible is intact, but maybe you're going through the eclipses in such a way that, I'll go back to this one again. Maybe you're celebrating the final chance to get through this. Maybe you're realizing, like, I can't wait to get through this stuff. Please, 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 so I can celebrate. Yeah. So you might be going through a really rough patch, but you might also be going through a rough patch that you already understood, and you just have to accept it and live through it, you know. Everything is exactly as it should be. Why? How? Because it can't be any other way. So that's probably the best way to understand and cope with this if there is any sense of tragedy and loss. Okay? So let's have a look here itself. What's going on at the core here? Okay, you could even say suspended animation. My feeling is, in the context of the eclipses, it might be this sort of feeling where the relationship is deeply in question here, where you're going through your own path, okay? They're going through their path, and they're really quite divergent, okay? Which is not conducive to this. This doesn't look very much like cuddling up on a sofa to me and, you know, enjoying a movie together. This looks like, to me, it looks like people on different paths. And you could be, you know, how some couples are like living in these fake relationships where everything is fake. You're just going through the motions. You could be sitting on a sofa together, but it's not, there's nothing actually there. My feeling here is that with the Hanged Man, it's this sort of like, have you ever had those feelings when you get shocked, numbed, or when you witness a car crash or something really shocking, amazing, good or bad happens? You kind of go into this almost state of numbness, of detachment, like a out of body experience. That's what I feel is happening for you in the context of the relationship, where the relationship itself seems to have endured a massive knock, you know, almost like on an old-fashioned cartoon where slapstick style, somebody dings someone over the head with a frying pan. Everybody kind of goes until it settles. So that's what I feel is going on here. So it puts you in this awkward state, puts them in this awkward state where deep down, I think you know you're going to come out okay, but you're going through the phase. You're still living through the dinging. It's still going like this. And so my feeling here is that it's going to require a little bit of patience. The relationship, for all we know, the relationship will endure. It will stay intact. But it looks like, I think this eclipse, not just here for you, but wherever this eclipse, I mean, it could be anywhere, you know? Look at all these. You know, it could be anywhere. That eclipse, whoever this is, they're having their own eclipse moments too. So their eclipse energies, experiences are impacting the relationship, just as your eclipse energies and experiences are impacting the relationship. And that's what might be leading to this big sort of like moment in time. Let's have a look. What's over here? Hold on. Let me just have a look. Okay, well, my feeling is maybe it's about time. Maybe it's about the time that the truth is spoken. Not the spook is truthin. Excuse me. Where what can happen is that, like, you know what, you can blame it on the eclipses. You can blame everything on the planets right now if you really feel like it. I cheat. I do it myself. I often say, like, if things get beyond my own capabilities to cope, I'll just say, you know what, I'll go off and look at all my charts, you know what, and I'll think, aha, it's Jupiter doing that. Or I'll look at Neptune. Oh, no wonder. So I feel like you have an excuse to do that here, where you can allow yourself to live through August, live through this kind of like ding moment here, allow yourself to come through the other side, discern what the real truth is. In other words, no fake stuff going on in relationships, like it's not you per se, and it's not them per se who's calling out the truth. I think it's the eclipses that are knocking some, I don't know, sense, but knocking the relationship hard enough that the truth is exposed. You know, like chipping away, uh, what do they call that stuff? Barnacles on ships. Ching, 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 bam. And what do you actually get inside? This is like the truth teller. This is like, to me, like the rebel warrior fighter. Like I would see this very closely aligned with Mars and Aquarius. And Mars and Aquarius is exactly what is opposing uh, Sun in Leo on July 27th. So you might get the big ding effect for the first half of the month because of what's happening on the eclipse at the end of July. And eventually, as the month unfolds, the truth will unfold. The actual truth of your relationship dynamics in terms of genuine, honest relationships and communications, as opposed to what everybody was either faking or pretending or believing or misunderstanding. So I think it's good. The truth shall set you free. It's very liberating, okay? Perhaps they're even looking forward to it. Maybe both sides are looking forward to, like, it's about time we got some truth on the table here, okay? I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to say anything more. I'll probably spoil it. So just leave it at that. You can reinterpret however you want. Like we said, watch your sun, moon, and rising and all that. Okay, all the best, Gemini. You can handle it. You can handle it. Bye-bye.